The alarm started small, just a quiet beep that most people ignored. Dae-jung barely looked up from his datapad as he checked the cargo manifest for the third time that morning. Station Kepler 9 was always noisy, always busy, always filled with 1,000 different sounds from 100 different species. One more beep meant nothing. He stood in the main docking bay, watching as massive freight ships came and went through the atmospheric shields. The shields shimmered like water whenever something passed through them, creating brief rainbows in the recycled air. Dae-jung had worked here for 2 years now, and he still found that part beautiful. Everything else about the job was just work. His supervisor had already yelled at him twice today. The second time was his fault. He had misdirected a container of medical supplies to the wrong bay. The first time was not his fault at all. But arguing with his supervisor never helped. Dae-jung just nodded, apologized, and went back to work. That was life on the station for humans like him. Keep your head down, do your job, send money home to Earth. The beeping got louder. Now other people were noticing. Dae-jung looked up and saw several alien workers pointing at something. He followed their gaze to docking platform 7, where a massive freight hauler sat waiting for departure clearance. The ship was huge, maybe 9 tons of solid metal and cargo containers. It floated 2 feet off the platform, held in place by gravitational anchors. One of the anchors was sparking. Dae-jung felt his stomach drop. He had seen anchor failures before, but never on a ship that big. Never in a bay this crowded. The spark became a shower of bright blue electricity. Workers started backing away. Someone shouted something in a language Dae-jung did not understand. The second anchor failed. The ship lurched sideways, no longer properly secured. It started sliding across the platform. Slowly at first, then faster. The remaining anchors screamed as they tried to hold tons of moving metal. Dae-jung could see exactly where the ship was going. The market district sat at the far end of the bay, where dozens of vendors sold food and goods to station workers. Right now, the market was full of people. Everyone started running. The emergency sirens finally kicked in, filling the entire bay with red light and horrible noise. Dae-jung ran too, moving away from the sliding ship. His heart hammered in his chest. He could hear the metal grinding against the platform. He could smell something burning. Then he saw the child. It was small, maybe 3 feet tall, with 6 legs and large compound eyes. A Vel, Dae-jung thought. He had seen a few Vel on the station but never spoke to one. This one was young, probably just a kid. The child stood frozen in the middle of the platform, directly in the path of the sliding ship. Its legs were shaking. It was too scared to move. Behind the child, an adult Vel was screaming and trying to push through the panicking crowd. The parent could not reach the child in time. No one could. The ship was moving too fast now. All the anchors had torn free. 9 tons of metal sliding across the platform at deadly speed. Dae-jung stopped running away. His brain showed him the math. The ship would hit the child in maybe 4 seconds. He was 20 feet away from the child. He could run pretty fast when he needed to. Maybe fast enough. Probably not fast enough. His sister's face flashed in his mind. Ji-won had made him promise to be careful, to not take stupid risks. She was still on Earth, working 2 jobs to help their sick mother. If Dae-jung died, Ji-won would have to do everything alone. 3 seconds. The child still had not moved. Its large eyes were fixed on the approaching ship. 2 seconds. Dae-jung was already running. He did not remember deciding to run. His legs just moved on their own, carrying him toward the child instead of away from danger. The metal screamed behind him. People were shouting. The red emergency lights made everything look like a nightmare. 1 second. He reached the child and grabbed it with both arms. The kid was lighter than he expected. Dae-jung twisted his body and threw the small Vel away from the ship's path as hard as he could. He saw the child fly through the air, tumbling, hopefully far enough. Then the ship hit him. There was no pain at first, just enormous pressure. The impact lifted Dae-jung off his feet and threw him like a toy. He felt bones breaking, heard them snapping inside his body. The world spun. He hit something hard, a wall, maybe, or the floor. Everything was red and black and filled with noise. Now the pain came. It filled everything. Worse than anything Dae-jung had imagined pain could be. He could not breathe. Something was very wrong with his chest. He tried to move, but nothing worked. His body would not respond to his brain anymore. The red lights were fading. The noise was getting quieter. Dae-jung realized he was dying. This was what dying felt like. He found himself thinking about his mother and sister. He hoped the station would send them his last paycheck. They needed that money. He hoped the child was okay. The world went dark, and Dae-jung stopped thinking about anything at all. Far away, on the edge of his dying consciousness, he heard someone crying. The sound was strange, not human. Clicking and chirping mixed with something that sounded like words. An adult Vel was holding the small child, who was dirty and scared but alive. The parent was making a sound that was universal, across all species. The sound of someone who had just watched a miracle. Station security was already running toward Dae-jung's broken body. Medical teams were right behind them. But everyone who knew anything about medicine could see it was too late. The human had been hit by 9 tons of ship. No one survived that. The medical scanner confirmed it. No heartbeat. No brain activity. The young human was dead. The Vel parent was still holding their child, still making that crying sound. The child looked at Dae-jung's body and clicked something. The parent clicked back, more urgently. Other Vel were gathering now, speaking rapidly in their language. They kept looking at the dead human, and then at the living child. One of them, wearing the badges of an ambassador, made a decision. The ambassador pulled out a communication device and started speaking very quickly. The other Vel looked shocked, arguing back. The ambassador said something that made them all go quiet. The human had invoked the old law, whether he knew it or not. The law that could not be refused. A life, freely given, for a life, saved. The debt must be answered. Waking up hurt more than dying had. That was Dae-jung's first thought when consciousness returned. Everything hurt. His chest hurt. His head hurt. Even his bones hurt, in places he did not know bones could hurt. He tried to open his eyes, but the light was too bright. He made a sound, something between a groan and a scream. "He is awake," someone said. The voice was strange, clicking, and musical at the same time. "Impossible," another voice said. This one was human. Male. His brain was dead for 4 minutes. Even with the Matrix, there should be damage. "The human body is more adaptable than we thought," the first voice said. Dae-jung managed to open his eyes. The light was still too bright. But after a moment, his vision adjusted. He was lying in a bed, in a room he did not recognize. The walls were white and smooth, covered in technology that looked nothing like the cheap medical equipment on Kepler 9. Strange symbols glowed on displays around him. 3 figures stood beside his bed. One was definitely human. A man maybe in his 40s, with short, dark hair, and a scar running down his left cheek. He wore black armor with symbols Dae-jung vaguely recognized from news broadcasts. The other 2 were aliens. One was Vel, tall and insect-like with beautiful compound eyes. The third was something Dae-jung had never seen before, covered in scales with 4 arms. "Where?" Dae-jung tried to speak, but his throat was too dry. He coughed, and pain shot through his chest. "Do not move too quickly," the human said. He poured water from a container and held it to Dae-jung's lips. "Your body is still healing. Drink slowly." The water was the best thing Dae-jung had ever tasted. He drank and felt a little better. His mind was starting to work again, remembering. The ship, the child, the impact. "I died." "Yes," the Vel said. "You were dead for 4 minutes and 17 seconds. We brought you back." Dae-jung stared at the alien. That was not possible. Dead was dead. Once the brain stopped, it could not start again. Not after 4 minutes. The damage would be too severe. How? He asked. The Vel moved closer. I am Ambassador Thelvix. You saved my child. By the old laws of my people, such a debt cannot stand unanswered. We use technology that is normally forbidden. A neural restoration matrix. It rebuilt the damaged pathways in your brain and repaired your body. That technology does not exist, Daejung said. I read about it. Scientists have been trying for decades. Human scientists have been trying, the scaled alien said. The Vel had this technology for thousands of years. They simply choose not to share it. Daejung tried to process this. His head felt strange, like his thoughts were moving too fast. Why? Why would you do this for me? Why? 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 Because you gave your life for my child, Thelvix said simply. A Vel cannot accept such a gift and do nothing. It would be worse than death for us. We had to try to save you. Did it work? Daejung asked. Then he realized how stupid that question was. He was alive and talking. Of course it worked. It worked better than we expected, the human said. My name is Tae Min. I am the commander of the Apex Guard. Do you know what that is? We have to 7-2. We have to 7-2. We have to 7-2. Access day. We have to 7-2. Daejung nodded slowly. Everyone in the galaxy knew about the Apex Guard. They were legends. Elite warriors from different species who handled threats too dangerous for normal militaries. The best of the best. What does the Apex Guard want with me? Daejung asked. Tae Min smiled, but it was not a happy smile. The restoration matrix did more than save your life. It changed you. Your neural patterns are reading at levels we have never seen in an unmodified human. Your reflexes, your processing speed, your sensory input, all enhanced beyond normal parameters. I do not understand, Daejung said. Look at your hand, Tae Min said. Daejung looked. His hand appeared normal. Now count your fingers as fast as you can, Tae Min said. Daejung started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Except he did not count that slowly. The numbers appeared in his mind almost instantly, faster than he could speak. He could see each finger in perfect detail. Could notice tiny scars he never knew existed. Could see the individual lines in his skin. That should not be possible, Daejung whispered. Welcome to your new reality, Tae Min said. The Matrix interfaced with your human biology in unexpected ways. You are still human, but you are also something more now. Your body can do things it could not do before. Daejung felt panic rising in his chest. What did you do to me? We saved you, Thelvix said gently. But there were costs. The Matrix had to use your own neural patterns as a template, then enhance them to repair the damage. We could not predict exactly what would happen. Can you undo it? Daejung asked. No, Thelvix said. This is permanent. I am sorry. If there was another way to save you, we would have taken it. Daejung closed his eyes. This could not be real. Yesterday, he was a simple cargo technician. Today, he was some kind of enhanced human, with abilities he did not understand and did not ask for. There is more you need to know, Tae Min said. His voice was serious now. We did not come here just to check on your recovery. We came to offer you a choice. What choice? Daejung asked. The scaled alien spoke for the first time. War is coming. The Corvette swarm is pushing into this sector. Billions of lives are at risk. The Apex Guard is preparing for a conflict that will decide the fate of many worlds. What does that have to do with me? Daejung asked, though he was starting to understand. Your enhanced abilities make you a potential asset, Tae Min said. The neural scans classify you as Category 5. That is the same classification as our best operatives. We want to offer you a position in the Apex Guard. Daejung almost laughed, but his chest hurt too much. I am a cargo technician. I move boxes for a living. I am not a soldier. Neither was I, Taemin said quietly. 10 years ago, I was a farmer on Earth. Then the war came to my home. I lost everything. The Apex Guard gave me a purpose and taught me how to fight. Now, I protect others, so they do not lose what I lost. I just want to go home, Daejung said. You can, Taemin said. We are not forcing you. You can return to your old life on Kepler 9 if you want. We will help you adjust to your new abilities, but I think you should know what you are refusing. Taemin pulled up a holographic display. Images appeared in the air showing destroyed planets, burning cities, and creatures that looked like nightmares. The Corveth swarm. This is coming, Taemin said. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but soon. And when it arrives, people like you, ordinary people just trying to live their lives, will be caught in the middle. The Apex Guard stands between them and annihilation. Daejung looked at the images. He thought about the Vel child he saved. He thought about his sister on Earth. He thought about all the people on Kepler 9 who had no idea danger was coming. I need time to think, he said. Take all the time you need, Taemin said. But not too much time. The universe does not wait for anyone. The three visitors left the room, and Daejung was alone with his thoughts and his new strange body. He lifted his hand again and stared at it. This hand had pushed a child to safety. This hand belonged to someone who threw himself in front of a 9-ton ship without thinking. Maybe he was never just a cargo technician. Maybe he had always been someone who ran toward danger instead of away from it. Or maybe he was just an idiot who got lucky and survived. Either way, his old life was gone. The question now was, what kind of life he wanted to build with whatever he had become. Daejung tried to go back to his old life. It lasted 3 days. The first problem happened on his first day back at work. He grabbed a container to move it to another platform, the same thing he had done 1,000 times before. The container was made of reinforced plastic and weighed about 50 pounds. Daejung picked it up, and the container crumpled in his hands like paper. The contents spilled everywhere. His supervisor stared at him. What did you just do? I do not know, Daejung said, looking at his hands. He had not squeezed hard. At least, he did not think he had squeezed hard. But the container was destroyed. The second problem happened that night in his small apartment. He could not sleep. Every sound in the station was too loud. He could hear conversations happening 3 rooms away. He could hear the humming of the air recyclers in the walls. He could hear his neighbor's heartbeat through the floor. Every sound crashed into his brain like thunder. The third problem happened on day 2. Daejung was walking through the market district when someone bumped into him. It was an accident. Just a small push. Daejung turned to apologize and moved too fast. The person who bumped him looked startled, then frightened. Daejung realized he had moved faster than a human should be able to move. By day 3, Daejung knew the truth. He did not fit in his old life anymore. His enhanced body was too strong, too fast, too sensitive. He was dangerous to the people around him. Eventually, he would hurt someone by accident. He sent a message to Taemin. 2 words, I accept. Within an hour, a ship arrived to take him to the training facility. The moon Carthex Prime looked beautiful from orbit, covered in silver dust that sparkled in the light of its parent star. The training facility was built into the side of a mountain, hidden from casual observation. As the ship landed, Daejung saw other recruits gathering on the landing platform. All of them looked tough and confident. All of them looked like they belonged here. Daejung felt like a fraud. Taemin met him at the entrance. Welcome to hell, he said. The next 6 months will be the hardest thing you have ever experienced. Many recruits quit. Some get hurt. A few die. Do you understand? Yes, Daejung said, though his stomach was twisting with fear. Good. Your squad is waiting inside. The squad consisted of 4 others. Hyun-woo was a human, short and stocky with burn scars on his arms, and a smile that never quite reached his eyes. He specialized in demolitions and had served in 3 different wars before joining the Apex Guard. Sun-hee was also human, tall and thin with sharp eyes that seemed to analyze everything. She was an intelligence officer, the person who planned missions and calculated risks. She had a mind like a computer. Veltrek was reptilian, covered in green scales with claws that could cut through metal. He was a close combat specialist from a warrior culture. He looked at Dae-jung with obvious contempt. Ix was the strangest of all, a being made of living crystal that communicated through pulses of colored light. Dae-jung had no idea what Ix's specialty was, or even if Ix was male or female. "Everyone, this is Dae-jung," Taemin said. "He is the civilian who saved the Vel child. The one with the enhanced neural patterns." Veltrek made a sound like a hiss. "Artificial soldier. Made, not earned." "Enough," Taemin said sharply. "He is your squad mate now. You will work together, or you will fail together. Those are the only options." The first training exercise was combat simulation. Each recruit had to face off against an AI opponent in virtual reality. The AI adapted to each fighter's style, getting stronger as the fight continued. The goal was to last as long as possible. Hyun-woo lasted 8 minutes, Sun-hee lasted 6, Veltrek lasted 12, the longest so far. Everyone was impressed. Dae-jung lasted 30 seconds. The AI opponent moved like lightning, striking from angles Dae-jung could not predict. His enhanced reflexes helped him dodge the first few attacks, but he had no training, no technique. He just flailed around like an amateur. The AI knocked him down hard. "Pathetic," Veltrek said when Dae-jung emerged from the simulation pod. The next exercise was tactical planning. Sun-hee completed the scenario in minutes, creating an efficient plan that saved the most lives. Dae-jung stared at the problem for 20 minutes and could not figure out where to even start. He eventually submitted a plan that Sun-hee later told him would have gotten everyone killed. The physical training was even worse. The enhanced abilities helped Dae-jung keep up with the running and climbing, but he had no endurance. His technique was terrible. He fell behind in every drill. By the end of the first week, Dae-jung wanted to quit. He sat alone in his bunk at night, body aching, spirit broken. He was the worst recruit in the entire facility. The other members of his squad barely spoke to him, except to point out his mistakes. Hyun-woo found him sitting outside one night. "Thinking about running away?" the demolitions expert asked. "Every day," Dae-jung admitted. "Good," Hyun-woo said. "That means you are smart. Only idiots do not think about quitting." "You ever think about it?" Dae-jung asked. "Sure. Then I remember what is waiting out there if we fail. The Corveth do not take prisoners. They do not negotiate. They just consume. Everything. Everyone. I stay because someone has to stand between them and the innocent people. But I am not a soldier," Dae-jung said. "Neither was I," Hyun-woo said. "I was a factory worker. Then, the war came to my planet and killed my family. I learned to fight because the alternative was giving up. You will learn too, if you stop feeling sorry for yourself." The words were harsh but somehow helpful. Dae-jung started training harder. He woke up early to practice. He stayed late to work on his technique. He asked Sun-hee to teach him tactical thinking. He asked Veltrek to show him proper combat stances, even though the reptilian usually refused. Slowly, very slowly, he got better. The breakthrough came during a crisis simulation in month 3. The scenario involved rescuing hostages from a collapsing building. It was supposed to be a test of decision-making under pressure. But something went wrong with the simulation. A real equipment failure caused actual damage to the facility. Part of the training structure started to really collapse. Recruits were trapped inside, and this was not part of the test. The instructors were trying to figure out what to do. Sending in a rescue team would take time the trapped recruits might not have. Sun He was calculating options. Veltrek was arguing for waiting for proper equipment. Daejung did not wait. He just ran into the collapsing structure. His enhanced reflexes helped him dodge falling debris. His improved strength let him lift pieces of wall that would have been too heavy before. He found the trapped recruits and started pulling them out one by one, moving faster than any normal human could move. When he emerged with the last recruit, covered in dust and bleeding from a dozen cuts, Tae-min was staring at him. "That was stupid," the commander said. "You could have died." "People needed help," Daejung said simply. Tae-min's expression changed. He almost smiled. "That is exactly why humans are dangerous. You do not think about the odds. You just act. Most species in the galaxy calculate whether saving someone is worth the risk. Humans see someone who needs help, and they throw themselves in front of 9-ton ships." That night, Veltrek approached Daejung in the common area. The reptilian stood silently for a moment, then extended one clawed hand. "I was wrong about you," Veltrek said. "You are not a soldier, but you are a warrior. There is a difference." Daejung shook the offered hand, and for the first time since arriving at Carthex Prime, he felt like maybe he belonged here after all. The graduation ceremony was short and simple. No speeches, no celebrations. Tae-min simply handed each recruit their official insignia and said, "You are Apex Guard now. Do not die stupidly." Daejung was pinning the insignia to his armor when the emergency alert sounded. The entire facility went to red alert. Within minutes, every member of the Apex Guard was assembled in the main briefing room. A holographic display showed a map of the sector. Red markers were spreading across it like a disease. "The Corveth swarm has begun its advance," Tae-min announced. "Diplomatic channels have failed. Evacuation of the outer colonies is underway. But there are too many people, and not enough time. We are being deployed immediately." Sun He pulled up detailed information on her datapad. "The swarm is moving faster than predicted. They have already consumed 3 mining colonies. Current trajectory suggests they are heading for the populated worlds in the inner sector." "How many people are we talking about?" Hyunwoo asked. "Billions," Tae-min said quietly. The room went silent. That number was too big to fully understand. "Billions of lives. Our squad is being sent to Viridian 7, Tae-min continued. "It is a mining colony with a population of 50,000. Most are civilians, families, workers, people who have lived there for generations. Intelligence suggests the Corveth advanced scouts may have already infiltrated the colony. Our mission is to secure the evacuation." "Sounds simple," Hyunwoo said. "It will not be," Tae-min replied. The flight to Viridian 7 took 6 hours. Daejung spent the time checking his equipment and trying not to think too hard about what was coming. This would be his first real mission. First real combat. The simulations had been hard enough. Real enemies would be worse. Veltrek noticed him fidgeting with his weapon. "Nervous?" "Yes," Daejung admitted. "Good. Fear keeps you alive. Overconfidence kills." 1. Ask. The ship entered Viridian 7's atmosphere, and everything went wrong immediately. The colony was supposed to be secure. It was not. The landing zone was under attack. Daejung could see fires burning across the settlement. Creatures that looked like nightmares were swarming through the streets. The Corveth had arrived ahead of schedule. "Change of mission," Tae-min said as the ship dropped toward the chaos. "Civilian shelter is located in the center of the colony. We fight our way there and hold position until evacuation ships arrive." The ship landed hard. The ramp dropped, and Daejung got his first real look at the enemy. The Corveth drones were horrifying. Part insect, part machine, part something else entirely. They moved in perfect coordination, like parts of a single organism. Their bodies were covered in chitin armor, and their limbs ended in blades that could cut through metal. "Move!" Tae-min shouted. The squad pushed forward into the colony. Daejung's training took over. He moved in formation with his squad mates, covering angles and watching for threats. His enhanced reflexes helped him react to attacks before his conscious mind even registered them. But nothing in the simulations had prepared him for the reality of war. Buildings were burning. Bodies lay in the streets, colonists who had not reached the shelter in time. The Corvette drones were everywhere, attacking anything that moved. The sound of combat filled the air. Weapons fire. Screaming. The horrible clicking noise the drones made as they communicated with each other. A drone leaped at Dae-jung from a rooftop. He raised his weapon and fired, the shots catching the creature in mid-air. It fell dead at his feet. Two more immediately took its place. "They are adapting," Sun-hee shouted. "They are learning our tactics." The fight became a running battle through the colony streets. The squad moved from cover to cover, fighting every step of the way. Hyun-woo used explosives to collapse buildings and block the drone swarms behind them. Veltrek fought in close combat, his claws tearing through Corvette armor. Ix provided covering fire with weapons built into its crystalline body. Dae-jung just tried to keep up and not die. They reached the civilian shelter after 20 minutes of fighting. The shelter entrance was surrounded by dozens of terrified colonists who had not made it inside before the lockdown. Parents held children. Elderly people leaned on each other. They all looked at the apex guard with desperate hope. "Get them inside," Taemin ordered. "Veltrek, Dae-jung, hold the perimeter." The next 10 minutes were the longest of Dae-jung's life. The drones kept coming in waves. His weapon overheated. His armor took hits that would have killed him without protection. He saw colonists die despite their best efforts, people who were just steps away from safety when the drones reached them. Hyun-woo took a drone blade through his shoulder. The demolitions expert screamed but kept fighting. Blood poured down his armor. "Sun-hee!" Taemin shouted. "Still 15 minutes out," she replied, firing her weapon at approaching drones. 15 minutes. They had to hold for 15 more minutes. A massive explosion rocked the colony. Dae-jung looked up and saw part of the main mining facility collapsing. The structure was coming down directly toward the civilian shelter. "The support columns!" Sun-hee shouted. "If that facility collapses, it will crush the shelter. Hundreds of people are inside." Taemin looked at the collapsing building, then at Dae-jung. Something passed between them, an understanding that made Dae-jung's stomach drop. "I can reach the control room," Dae-jung said. "If I can trigger the emergency supports." "That is a suicide run," Veltrek said. "The building is already collapsing. Then, you will be crushed." "Then I move fast," Dae-jung said. He was already running before anyone could stop him. His enhanced reflexes made him faster than any normal human. He sprinted through the collapsing facility, dodging falling debris and leaping over destroyed machinery. His lungs burned. His muscles screamed, but he kept moving. The control room was 3 levels up. The stairs were already destroyed. Dae-jung found a maintenance shaft and climbed, his hands bleeding as he pulled himself up through the narrow space. The building shook. Metal screamed. He reached the control room and threw himself at the emergency panel. The controls were labeled in 3 different languages. Dae-jung's enhanced mind processed the information rapidly, finding the right sequence. He slammed his fist against the emergency support activation. For a horrible moment, nothing happened. Then massive hydraulic supports deployed from the building's foundation, catching the collapsing structure and holding it in place. The building stopped falling. The civilian shelter was safe, but Dae-jung was trapped. The maintenance shaft he had used to climb up was now completely blocked by debris. There was no way out. Taemin's voice crackled in his helmet radio. "Dae-jung, report. Building is stable," Dae-jung said. "The evacuation ships are landing now," Taemin said. "We will come get you. Just hold on." Through the control room window, Dae-jung could see the shelter entrance. The evacuation ships were indeed landing. He watched as civilians ran aboard. Families staying together. People helping each other. Hundreds of lives saved. Hyun-woo's voice came over the radio, weak from blood loss but still maintaining his dark humor. Did you just throw yourself in front of another disaster to save people? I guess I did, Dae-jung said. You have a problem, Hyunwoo said. This is becoming a habit. Veltrek's voice joined in. A warrior protects. You are learning. It took an hour, but the squad eventually cut through the debris and pulled Dae-jung out of the control room. By then, all the civilians were safely aboard evacuation ships. The colony was lost, the Corveth were still coming, still consuming everything, but the people were saved. As their ship lifted off from Viridian 7, Dae-jung watched the colony burn below them. This was just one colony, one tiny speck in a vast galaxy. And the war was just beginning. Taemin sat down next to him. You did well today. You saved a lot of lives. Not all of them, Dae-jung said, thinking of the colonists who had not made it. No, Taemin agreed. Never all of them. That is the burden we carry. We save who we can and remember those we could not. Dae-jung looked at his hands. They were covered in dust and blood. These were the hands that had pushed a child to safety, the hands that had triggered the emergency supports, the hands of someone who ran toward danger. Maybe that was what humans did best. Not thinking about the odds, just acting when people needed help, even if it meant throwing themselves in front of collapsing buildings. The message from Earth arrived 3 months after Viridian 7. Dae-jung was in the squad's common area when his personal communicator beeped. He almost ignored it. Most communications these days were mission briefings or casualty reports, but something made him check. The message was from his sister. Dae-jung, I know you are busy saving the galaxy or whatever, but I wanted you to know that I enlisted. I am part of the defense fleet now, stationed at Terminus Gate. Mom is proud. I am proud. Do not do anything stupid. Love you. Dae-jung read the message 3 times. His little sister was a soldier now. The war had found his family. Terminus Gate was the capital world of the sector. 3 trillion people lived there or in the surrounding orbital habitats. If the Corveth reached Terminus Gate, it would be the worst disaster in galactic history. 2 weeks later, the Apex Guard received the warning they had been dreading. The Corveth main fleet was on its way to Terminus Gate. Intelligence estimated arrival in 72 hours. Every military force in the sector was being mobilized for a desperate last stand. This is it, Taemin told the assembled squads. Everything we have trained for. Everything we have fought for. It all comes down to this battle. Many of us will not survive. But if we fail, billions will die. So we cannot fail. Sun-hee pulled Dae-jung aside after the briefing. Her face was drawn with exhaustion. She had been working on battle plans for days without sleep. I have a plan, she said quietly. It is terrible and will probably get everyone killed. But it is the only chance we have, she explained. The Corveth fought as a coordinated swarm because they shared a hive mind connection through their command ship. If that connection could be disrupted, the entire fleet would fragment into confusion. Sun-hee had developed a viral code that could do exactly that. The problem was delivery. Someone had to physically infiltrate the command ship and upload the code directly into the hive mind core. It is a suicide mission, Sun-hee said. The command ship is the most heavily defended target in the entire Corveth fleet. Getting there is almost impossible. Getting out is completely impossible. But if it works? Dae-jung asked. If it works, we save Terminus Gate and 3 trillion lives, Sun-hee said. Maybe more. We might break the entire Corveth advance. While Taemin was already assembling the team before Sun-hee finished her briefing. Dae-jung volunteered immediately. So did Veltrek. Hyun-woo volunteered even though his shoulder had not fully healed from Viridian 7. This is my squad, Taemin said. If anyone is going on a suicide mission, it is us. They launched 12 hours before the Corveth fleet arrived. Their ship was a captured Corveth biovessel, disguised to look like it belonged to the swarm. The infiltration plan relied on the hive mind accepting the ship as one of their own. The space battle began as they approached the enemy fleet. Thousands of ships clashed in the void. Explosions lit up the darkness. Dae-jung watched through the viewport as human ships, maybe the one his sister was on, fought desperately against impossible odds. "Stay focused," Taemin said. "We complete our mission. That is how we help them." The disguised ship passed through the outer defenses. The Corvette scanners accepted them as friendly. They were inside the enemy fleet now, surrounded by hundreds of hostile vessels. One wrong move, and they would be discovered and destroyed. The command ship was enormous, easily 10 times bigger than any human vessel. Its surface writhed with organic technology that looked like it was alive. Docking ports opened like mouths. Their ship attached, and the squad moved inside. The interior was a nightmare. The walls pulsed like living tissue. Strange growths covered every surface. The air smelled like decay, and something worse, something alien and wrong. Creatures that existed somewhere between life and death shambled through the corridors. "The core is 3 levels down," Sun-hee said, checking her scanner. "But the hive mind knows we are here. It can feel us." She was right. The ship itself seemed to be waking up, aware of the intruders. Passages sealed behind them. New creatures appeared ahead, specifically designed to hunt them. They fought through corridors that changed shape around them. Hyun-woo used the last of his explosives to blast through blocked passages. Veltrek's claws tore through Corvette defenders. Ix provided covering fire while Sun-hee guided them through the labyrinth. But the deeper they went, the harder it became. The hive mind was learning their tactics, adapting its defenses. They were taking damage. Hyun-woo was bleeding again. Veltrek had lost one of his claws. Even Ix's crystalline structure was cracked and leaking strange light. They reached the core chamber and found it guarded by something massive. A Corvette champion, easily 15 feet tall, built for killing. It moved faster than anything that size should be able to move. "Go," Taemin shouted. "I will hold it off. Get to the core, Commander." Dae-jung started. "That is an order," Taemin said, then threw himself at the champion. The squad ran. Behind them, they could hear the sounds of Taemin fighting. They reached the core, a massive organic computer that pulsed with sickly light. The hive mind's heart. "I need 2 minutes to upload the code," Sun-hee said, connecting her equipment to the alien system. Corvette defenders poured into the chamber. Veltrek roared and charged them. Hyun-woo planted his last explosive at the entrance, then turned to Dae-jung with that same dark smile. "Tell Ji-won I said hello," Hyun-woo said. "Wait," Dae-jung started. But Hyun-woo was already running back toward the entrance, toward the approaching swarm. The explosion shook the entire chamber. Debris sealed the entrance. Hyun-woo was gone. Veltrek was still fighting, but he was slowing down, wounded and exhausted. "1 minute," Sun-hee said. Her voice was shaking. The upload started, but something went wrong. Alarms screamed. Sun-hee's equipment sparked. "The code is uploading, but it needs someone to interface directly with the hive mind," Sun-hee said, "to guide it through their defenses. It requires a living consciousness." "Will they survive?" Dae-jung asked. Sun-hee looked at him with tears in her eyes. "No." She reached for the interface connector. Dae-jung grabbed her wrist. "You are the smartest person I know," he said. "The galaxy needs people like you. I am just someone who throws himself in front of danger. Let me be useful one last time." "Dae-jung, please," he said. Before she could argue, he grabbed the interface connector and plugged it into the neural port on his armor. The connection linked directly to his enhanced nervous system. The hive mind crashed into him like a wave. It was vast beyond understanding. Millions of consciousnesses linked together into one massive intelligence. Dae-jung felt his own mind being torn apart, his memories being stripped away and consumed. The pain was indescribable. But within the hive mind, he saw something unexpected. Fear. The Corvette were afraid. They consumed other species because they were terrified of being alone, of being finite, of being individual and vulnerable. Dae-jung understood. He had been afraid too. Afraid of dying. afraid of being insignificant. But he had learned something. Connection did not require consumption. Love did not require possession. Some beings gave everything for others not because they had to, but because they chose to. He showed the hive mind what he had shown the Vel child on the station. That moment, when a normal human threw himself in front of certain death to save someone he did not even know. That impossible, beautiful, stupid, human thing. The viral code uploaded completely. The hive mind fragmented, breaking apart into millions of confused individual consciousnesses. Above them, the Corvette fleet stopped moving in coordination. Ships drifted. The swarm dissolved into chaos. Dae-jung felt his own consciousness dissolving too. His memories were being destroyed faster than the code could protect them. He would not remember his childhood. He would not remember his parents' faces. But he would remember the important things. G1. His squad. The choice he made. He collapsed. Sun-hee caught him before he hit the floor. She was crying, holding him, as his body convulsed. "You stupid, brave idiot," she whispered. "Did it work?" Dae-jung managed to ask. "Yes," she said. "You saved them all." Veltrek had cleared the chamber of enemies. Taemin appeared, badly wounded but alive. They carried Dae-jung back to the ship and fled the command vessel as it began to tear itself apart from within. The battle was over. The Corvette fleet was retreating, no longer coordinated, no longer an unstoppable swarm. Terminus Gate was saved. 3 trillion lives continued on, never knowing how close they had come to extinction. Dae-jung woke up in a medical facility weeks later. Parts of his memory were gone forever. He did not remember his first day at school. He did not remember what his father's voice sounded like. But when Ji-won came to visit him, he knew exactly who she was. "You are an idiot," she said, hugging him carefully. "I know," he said. Taemin promoted him to full operative status. Sun-hee told him he was banned from any more suicide missions. Veltrek said that Dae-jung had earned the greatest honor, the right to be called brother. Months later, Dae-jung visited Station Kepler 9. The Vel child he had saved was older now, more confident. The child approached with Thelvix and handed him a small crystal. Later, when Dae-jung viewed the crystal, he saw the moment from the child's perspective. A human running toward a 9-ton ship. A human who did not hesitate or calculate odds. A human who just acted. Sun-hee found him in his quarters, staring at the crystal with tears on his face. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "Everything you lost?" Dae-jung thought about Hyun-woo, who died with a joke. About all the civilians they saved. About his sister, who got to live. About the 3 trillion people on Terminus Gate, who did not even know his name. "No," he said. "This is what humans do. We throw ourselves in front of ships. We run toward danger. We give everything for people we have never met. It makes no sense. But it is who we are." Sun-hee smiled. "That is what makes us terrifying. And that is why the galaxy needs us." The next mission briefing arrived the following morning. Dae-jung suited up and joined his squad. The war was far from over. There would be more battles, more impossible choices, more chances to prove what humans could do. But that was fine. Because Dae-jung had learned the truth. He was not special because of his enhanced abilities or his Category 5 classification. He was special because he was human. And humans, ordinary and fragile and reckless, had always been the ones who threw themselves in front of danger to protect others. That was their gift to the galaxy. That was their purpose. And Dae-jung would keep throwing himself in front of ships for as long as people needed saving.